नमस्कार, जय हिंद, जय भारत एंड वेलकम टू डेफ टॉक्स. दिस इज आदि अचिंत. हमारे साथ हैं मिस्टर अभिजीत चावड़ा जी. And we will talk what's happening in the world, especially with Mr. Trump losing his kind of marbles, if I may. Firstly, sir, thank you so much. Pleasure meeting you once again.
Always. Pleasure to meet you as well.
And, we always have great conversations. So, let me just ask you at the beginning. Trump lost his marbles or Mom Danny?
I don't think Trump has lost his marbles. Trump is doing what he does. He came in with an agenda. He has always had this desire to use tariffs to reshape the world. And he has been speaking about this for decades. So in the first term of Trump, the Trump 45 term, he really was not allowed to do much because of internal issues. But this time he has the full power to do whatever he wants, and the entire establishment is aligned with him. So he is going ahead and completely dismantling the existing world order, the structure, the economic structure of the world. He is doing everything bilaterally through bilateral tariffs and all, based on how he deals with countries and whether a country is offended him or not. It's a little bit capricious, it's a little bit personal, but that's what he's doing. He's not lost his marbles. He has a big game plan in mind. If you see the US overall strategic approach right now, they are withdrawing into the Western Hemisphere. It's Western Hemispheric defense that they are talking about. And they are kind of treating China as an equal partner, a peer partner. They are talking about G2. And China is happy to acquire. Why would they not be willing to play along with that? The thing is that the US, even though it is reshaping the world order, even though it's saying that it's retreating into hemispheric defense, it still has more than 700 extraterritorial military bases, which gives it global power projection. It still is able to contain China through the island chains. It's able to hem it in, choke all the choke points, control all the choke points. The same thing it does with Russia. So I don't see Trump as having lost his marbles. He is still acting in a rational way. His pronouncements are erratic. Sometimes you don't know whether what he has said, does he really mean it or not. He's talking about nuclear tests again. We haven't seen a test happening, but he's saying Pakistan has been doing it, China has been doing it, maybe Russia has been doing it. And the Pakistanis did not respond to that. But once we spoke about it, the Pakistanis responded. So overall, I see Trump as a rational actor. He has cultivated this image of unpredictability and of irrationality, of making erratic statements. But I see him as a rational actor.
That's very interesting. You say that he's kind of retreating into the Western Hemisphere. Yesterday, they did a deal with Jolani to have a new base in Syria, Damascus. Now that tells me, you and I spoke, I think about 2 podcasts ago about the move into the Central Asia part. Right? We spoke about Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, we spoke about the so-called Trump corridor, the Zanzibar corridor, which is now named as the Trump corridor. And interestingly, this happens and Kazakhstan also joins the Abraham Accords. That's a big deal. People are already talking about a NATO base in Kazakhstan, although there's no official.
They're also angling for Bagram right now. So they are further expanding actually.
So my point is, he is talking about retreating, but his actions are actually encircling and playing the underbellies of China, India and Russia.
That's right. So he is not just, they already have the infrastructure in place to contain China. They've been building it for a long time. The Russia-facing infrastructure is also there, whether it is Ukraine, whether it is the Eastern Europe, whatever. And now they are encircling India also. The game is to contain India as well. They no longer are treating India as something that's a strategic, counterbalance to China anymore. They are going all out after India. The tariffs are very heavy, extremely unjust tariffs, and they have encircled India. It started with the Biden administration. It started with the regime changes in East and West Pakistan. We had 2022 Imran Khan's ouster, and the Shahbaz Sharif comes in, who is pro-US. Then you have the ouster of Sheikh Hasina. Then now we have Nepal. We also have the Cookie Land issue, which is going on to cut India off from Southeast Asia, Eastern Asia. So they are actually expanding. They're talking about retreating into the Western Hemisphere, but they're actually expanding their network and infrastructure.
The narrative is different from the actions.
Yeah, the actions are those of expanding their territorial, those points that they can use to counterbalance other countries.
Funny thing, when I look at the South China Sea, just before Xi Jinping and Trump met, there were actions in the South China Sea, of course aggressive actions. That's why they lost 2 platforms. One was a FA-18 and
that's
second
pretty recent, isn't it? Like a couple of weeks ago, less than a couple of weeks ago.
So they lost the war, When you lose,
they lost 2 assets, aerial naval assets.
See, when you see that, again, you're like, okay, this guy is saying, oh, Trump in G2. One thing that people have forgotten, and I want you to comment on that. G2 meant an elder brother and a younger brother. China doesn't like that. When they call him a peer competitor, they like that. But they don't like G2. to me, it's an offense that Trump is doing to China because of that elder brother and the younger brother. That's what the positioning statement of G2 was by Obama. At that time, the Chinese agreed, but now they don't.
Today, they no longer see.
They've not mentioned G2 only once, actually, in their statement.
See, when someone talks about G2, they're going to frame it in a certain way. But when China responds, they can frame it in their own way. So it's not like they have to go along with the framing that the US is doing. And you're right, the Chinese only mentioned G2 once. And they kind of disregarded everything else. And look, the way the Americans their diplomatic statements are going to be very different from the Chinese diplomatic statements. The Chinese diplomatic statements are going to be very factual, very toned down, and pretty skeptical actually of what the US is saying. So the US will issue a statement and the Chinese will kind of respond to it, but in a very skeptical manner. The US tone of voice, especially during the Trump administration, is going to be more hyperbolic. You will see Pete Hegseth's statements that are also very hyperbolic. Trump will say, God bless the United States and God bless China, that sort of thing. And then he will take actions that actually undermine China's interests.
It's not God blessing, it's devil cursing China.
So that's the deal. So China knows exactly what game the US is playing, and they have anticipated everything, and they are going ahead with building their capabilities.
Now, let me ask you this. At a global level, at a time when Russia was the enemy, they built up Europe. Right? They're building the North now for the Atlantic, this thing. But the concept of Russia as an enemy in Europe is kind of fading away. The current area of focus with multiple contemporaries and multiple adversaries at the moment is India and China, Indo-Pacific.
It's the Indo-Pacific, yeah.
Do you see the power structure moving from Europe to to Middle East, and the Middle East kachra going from here to there? If you look at the population, you look at the money flow, that's what you're kind of figuring out. All the jihadis are going there, so that becomes the land of the jihad, which is
Europe, you mean, right?
Yeah. This place becomes the next destination. So you've got a base in Damascus, you've got some stuff which is happening in Iraq right now, you've got some stuff which is happening in Pakistan. They're expanding into this region and of course Central Asia as well. So do you see that power shift happening here?
We are seeing it in real time. See, Europe is being deindustrialized slowly, gradually.
Islamized and deindustrialized.
Yeah, and there's a demographic re-engineering happening in Europe. So look, historically the Western world has been controlled through one Abrahamic religion, which is Christianity. And Christianity was a religion of control, and there were things like heresy, that you could not say certain things about Christianity, about the religion. You could not leave the religion, you would be burned at the stake or whatever. But now that's no longer the case. Christianity is losing ground in the West, especially in Europe, where if the Pope visits your country, nobody turns out to see him. So now they seem to have decided that let's bring in Islam into Europe, and we're going to control Europe and the Western world through Islam, right? And at the same time, we are seeing potential liberalization, more liberalization in West Asia. We are seeing what's happening in the Gulf countries. Even Saudi Arabia is changing, significantly. So that is happening. But they are also, if you disregard the words and see the actions, as you can see, they are building up more assets. They are investing in more assets in Central Asia and West Asia. And the objective is to contain the Eastern world now. So that is how I see it happening. Russia, like you said, it's no longer regarded as part of Europe also now, right? It's regarded as part of the East. Eurasia. They use the term Eurasia now. So Russia is being contained. Poland is being built up as a major military power, right? Up north, right? The frontier. I mean, if Russia wins Ukraine, then the narrative is that they will then try and make a move on Europe. So we have to build up Poland for that. And from that perspective, it makes a lot of sense.
It's like a shift.
It's a shift. So Europe is being deindustrialized. Clearly, I mean, for any industry to thrive, you need plentiful energy, cheap energy, and that was flowing into Europe through the Russian gas, and they've cut that off. So Europe is being choked slowly, and you can see that the economies aren't doing well. Look at the German economy, which used to be the engine that drove Europe. That is no longer doing well. I think Germany is in recession now, multiple quarters, right? And even if you look at the other European economies, not doing well anymore. So Europe is dying a slow death. It won't happen overnight. It's going to be like the Plaza Accords, 20, 30-year-old gradual slow decline and into irrelevance. That's what we're doing.
The interesting thing when I see a situation like this is you kind of realize that the world order in terms of its shift is not tectonic as it was in the Second World War. It was a massive war, and it concentrated around Europe.
It completely reconfigured
First
the world.
and Second World War, and it completely reconfigured the thing. This is a very slow, very subtle, bloody, yes, but it's not as bloody as the Second World War at the moment. Now, this is a very interesting thing. When you look at this, and then you look at the financial structures, the shift to Bitcoin, the shift to CBDCs, the shift to all that stuff, that's giving us another message. Now, where do you see the American structure as far as the economy is concerned? Because there's a lot of doomsday, America is sunk. And then there is also the other guys who are saying, listen, you guys don't know what he's doing. He's going to revalue gold. He's going to fix his dollar to the stable coin. He's going to sell off his Bitcoins and get his money back. And he's going to hyperinflate his way out of the debt. A lot of people are saying by 28, you will find kind of your US restabilizing again. Which side are you on?
I see the current conflict as more geoeconomic than geostrategic.
Securitized geoeconomics.
Yeah, that sort of thing. See, nobody wants a war. The US cannot afford a war with China and Russia combined. The Chinese cannot afford a war. They will lose everything they've built up over the last 34 years.
You can see that with the 9 generals getting shot out. There has to be a reason.
There's some serious reconfiguration happening within China, right? True. So nobody wants a war. The US wants to manage its rivalry with China, and that's why they're talking about G2. And the Chinese also understand that we have to do that. Otherwise, if we have a hot war, it's going to cause tremendous destruction. And
both can't afford it.
And our great dream of the great rejuvenation of China by 2050 or whatever, it will not materialize, and Xi Jinping will go out of power if there's a setback. And that's why I don't even think that Taiwan is
in focus.
Yeah, it's not really in focus. Look, it makes no sense for China to go and make a move on Taiwan. Just encircle the country, integrate it economically with China, and that's it. You vassalize it, right? So that's what they're doing. So, like you said, Bitcoin, stablecoin, cryptocurrency is a big thing now. And there is the possibility, like you said, that the Americans will dump all their debt into crypto and eventually deflate that out of existence, right? So that's the thing. So the Americans may have a very different kind of economy by the late 2020s.
Because the whole plan of that Project 2025 that they talk about, on which they're going right now, it has these kind of elements within it.
Yes.
And it's written by who? The same Lutnik Basant. Sorry, I call him Basanti, but anyways.
Besant.
Scott
Besant,
his name, right?
Yeah,
I call him Basanti. I've actually forgotten his name. So you've got Lutnik, you've got Besant, you've got Navarro, and all these guys who've written that Project 2025. How do you see the advent of Mamdani fitting in to all this?
Like I mentioned briefly, the West seems to be in the process of bringing in a different Abrahamic religion to control the masses and to control. See, the advent of Islam into the West, it's part of a game plan, but it's not something to control. It's not a 5-10 year game plan. It may be a 100-year game plan to completely over time change the major dominant religion in the West to Islam, and through that control the people. Because when you have Christianity, which is losing ground, and you have woke ideology or whatever we call it, that's kind of a mishmash.
To kill woke is the answer is Islam?
To kill Christianity, to replace Christianity, to replace wokeism, everything, Islam is the answer.
Interesting.
Right. So we are seeing several major Western cities where you have these Muslim mayors, Indian origin mayors. We have Sadiq Khan in London. Now the other major financial center in the West is New York City. And now we have Mamdani, a guy with no prior experience of any kind, major experience.
The largest cities in the world.
Yeah, the two largest financial cities, most important financial cities in the world are now controlled by these Indian origin Islamic mayors. So it's a shift that we are seeing in the West, and I think that's gonna intensify over time.
Internally, do you think he's gonna showcase this loss, the damage or the degrade of New York and say, this is what will happen to you? He's quite capable of doing it. I mean, he can.
You mean Mamdani? Or Trump?
No. Trump. Turn around and say, see, if you vote people like this is what is going to happen to you. Common sense politics. Try to get his MAGA back. MAGA is pretty split out right now. And they're having meltdowns, absolute meltdowns. You see Steve Bannon, you see, all these guys. By the way, Candace Owens is now saying that, oh, I shouldn't have voted for Trump.
I see.
I was like, whoa. This is like the Nota gang in India.
Right, so the MAGA base is becoming more and more extreme, more and more conservative. To the nucleus, they are shrinking down to the nucleus.
India is the enemy.
India is the enemy for them, right? I mean, they are fine with Muslim mayors, Muslim guys becoming mayors in the US and ghettoizing cities and taking over entire swaths of the US, piece by piece. But they have an issue with Hindus who do no such thing, who don't kill anyone, who don't do whatever violence over. So the major issue they have is not with Islam, it's with polytheism.
Yeah.
We are the last polytheistic holdout.
It's the last old civilization that needs to be killed.
And it's an affront to them that polytheism still exists in a major way. So that's a very core, fundamental, deep-rooted issue for them.
That's very interesting, because when you look at also the way suddenly the India hatred has come up,
yeah,
it's insane. And I mean, thankfully, the government decided to ban TikTok. Otherwise, TikTok is rabid.
Yeah, I've heard about that. Yeah.
Rabid anti-Indian, and it's been anti-Indian for such a long time. Lastly, I want to ask you about Trump's gambit within this particular region, which is around India.
Yeah.
Right? You see stuff happening in Bangladesh, you see stuff happening in Pakistan, you see stuff happening in Afghanistan. He's trying for Bagram. I don't think it will be acceptable. Our presence will be more acceptable in that area rather than this thing. I've also heard there are a dep team which has gone there, which is just to see what's up there. Ours, which has landed there, which is an interesting thing. And 3 days later, when the news came of a dep team, US opens Chabahar. So I was like, okay, that's pretty cool.
The Chabahar thing is interesting. They want India to come begging to them every 6 months or every year or whatever it is. They'll give you minor extensions.
Basically, our access into our whatever we want to do in Bagram or Afghanistan is you take it through us here.
Yeah, that's what.
Don't leave us out of the Afghanistan game. Is that what you're saying?
The Americans, the Americans definitely covet Bagram. Bagram is the major airbase in the region. Yeah, it was built in the 1950s. It was used by two superpowers, right? First the Soviets and the Americans. It's like a military city, self-contained military city. It can host 30,000 people. It's got trauma hospitals.
Just a short drive away from Kabul.
It's a short drive, 40 kilometers roughly from Kabul. It oversees the whole of Central Asia. You can keep an eye on what's happening in Western Chinese occupied territory, in Pakistan, in Iran, in India, as well as Central Asia and even Russia. You can keep an eye from there because they've got intelligence centers, all kinds of SIGINT and whatnot capabilities. It's a major thing, and it's a very prestigious airbase also. When the US withdrew from Bagram, they kind of lost some prestige. And now Bagram is lying essentially unused, and the Taliban will be way more disposed to having India operated in some hybrid manner to some extent.
They're not happy with us in Fakhro.
Yeah, so that's okay. Farkhor. So Aini, we had Farkhor and Aini.
They're not happy with us there. They're saying, this is connected with the...
So let's do it in Bagram. We'll do it together. Don't do it there. So I think that's acceptable to us also.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah.
I think that's very good.
Yeah.
When you look at the Project Pakistan, that's very interesting to me. You've got Pakistan, Afghanistan fighting.
Yeah.
It's a typical American tactic. Get these two, keep fighting. India, Pakistan, keep clashing.
Keep the region aflame.
Keep the clash between India and China also alive.
Yeah.
Which of course, this is there. Overall, in this way, and the sudden so-called, Modi's a great guy and this and that and all that nonsense which comes across. Recently, he's come out and said, I want to come to India.
Okay.
What the hell? Where did that come from? And our MEA is saying, I'll come back to you.
Yeah, we'll get back to you about that.
What the hell is this? What do you think he's trying to do with India? Is it I don't call it a reset, but is he kind of just trying to bring down the tensions for the time being? Because I guess the China and India, both factors would be hurting them. You can see the economy jerking, you can see their inflation going up. Is he trying to just calm this thing down a little bit?
Look, the entire region is kind of unstable right now. We've got God knows what's happening in northern Western India right now. And India, China, there seems to be some kind of a little bit of rapprochement. That sort of thing is happening. But India and China, as long as we have the unresolved issues, we can't really work together in a substantial way. The Americans know that. They are very pleased about that. India, Russia, China, it is potentially a great game changer. But we don't know whether that can ever work, because the three countries, they have major fault lines. Even China and Russia have major fault lines. So what the US is doing is, overall their strategy long term, for next 5 years, let's say, is to contain India. And they have put the pieces in place. They put the Cookie Land issue in place. They've done the regime change in Nepal, East Pakistan, West Pakistan. And Pakistan, Afghanistan is interesting, because I don't think the Americans are responsible for that. Look, the Taliban, as we know, are kind of, to some extent, a US client, because they receive a weekly stipend of cash dollars. Depending on whom you ask, it's between $30 to $100 million in cash. right? But the Taliban are still independent because they
you
have,
can buy them.
yeah, but
You can't own them.
You can't own them, exactly. And they are Pashtun nationalists, and they have this major, gigantic border dispute with Pakistan. They want their land back from Pakistan, which was taken over during the time of Maharaja Ranjit Singh because of Afghani depredations in India. So they want the land back, and that issue is, as long as the Pakistan holds that land, it's not going to go away.
You know, funny thing is, they're doing a conference in Kabul,
Uh-huh.
Afghan Hindu Unity.
बहुत बढ़िया, very nice.
It's happening on the 6th of December.
So who's participating in that?
They're calling Hindus from here, they're
Okay.
calling Hindus from abroad, and they're calling Afghan Hindus.
Okay, that's good.
Aajo, baat karte hain.
That's a great development. I really appreciate what the Taliban is doing. I
was
really
like,
appreciate
what?
Sri Muttaqi ji.
Like, yaar, ye kya hai, bhai?
Yeah, it's good.
Pakistani mein.
So the tables have turned, and how the tables have turned. The Pakistanis thought that they now had acquired strategic depth in 2021 in Afghanistan. Their ISI chief was in Kabul sipping tea and all that, right?
Most expensive cup of tea.
Yeah, there you go. Well, see how the tables have turned.
That was best, huh? The Afghan-Pakistan negotiations in Turkey. The Taliban tells them, listen, we know you control the ISKP. No, we don't. They walked out from the negotiation.
Yeah.
So that tells you that guilt which is there inside.
And the Pakistanis are not in a position to really hurt Afghanistan. The Taliban are itching for a fight. They've been sitting at desk jobs for 3 years, and 4 years now. They can't stand it.
Yeah,
they're itching for a fight. And who else to fight but the goddamned Punjabistanis, right? Ando, let's do it.
Nowadays they actually say, we are fighting Punjab.
Yeah.
They say that.
Yeah.
We're fighting the Punjabis.
Yeah.
We're not fighting Pakistanis.
Right.
On that note, Mr. Abhijit sir, thank you so much. Always a pleasure.
My pleasure talking to you. Always.
And to the audience, my request to everybody is please like, subscribe and support the channel. Close to 6 lakhs, don't forget that. I keep reminding you in every video because we are moving forward as an ant moves forward. Jai Hind.
Jai Hind.